Hello everyone, welcome to History and Culture. On the eastern side of Tiananmen Square in Beijing, there is a street that is very famous, even internationally. Some compare it to the Champs-Élysées in France. In the memories of Chinese people, this place is even more famous than the Champs-Élysées. This street is Wangfujing Street. Wangfujing is also known as Golden Street in Beijing. With a history of nearly 100 years, this street carries many memories of food and history. Whether it's senior old Beijingers or tourists who come from afar, everyone is curious about this place's name. In Chinese, the pronunciation of royal mansion is Wangfu, and the pronunciation of well is Jing. Wangfujing means the well of the royal mansion. Which prince's mansion and well are associated with it, to have such an imposing presence that the name has been passed down through history? According to historical records, although Wangfujing is indeed related to a prince's mansion and a well, it was not owned by a single prince. Beijing officially became the political center of China during the Yuan Dynasty, when the Mongols took control of the Central Plains. They launched large-scale construction projects to build a new capital. The area of Wangfujing was not yet the east-west street we see today. Instead, it was laid out in the shape of a T-shaped street, with the residences of various ministers along the way. It did not connect with the merchants or commoners, and the environment was quite tranquil. During the Yuan Dynasty, the princes mostly did not reside in Beijing. They had their own fiefdoms, and their power was similar to the feudal lords of the Zhou dynasty in Chinese history. They controlled criminal law, taxation, military affairs, and personnel in their regions, and they had their own subordinates, practically acting as smaller emperors. This practice might be related to the nomadic heritage of the Yuan dynasty. According to their traditional customs, once a son came of age, he would receive cattle, sheep, and horses, which would grow and develop under his command. After the leader's campaigns, the territories and people he conquered would be distributed to his sons to manage. Thus, the princes of the Yuan dynasty did not need to have a mansion in Beijing. This system had both advantages and disadvantages. The advantage was that a large number of people and forces allowed the entire Yuan dynasty's national power and territory to grow exponentially. The disadvantage was that it was difficult to manage, and it tested the ruler's abilities. If the royal family changed and failed to command respect, chaos would ensue in a short time. In the early years of the Ming Yongle period, Emperor Yongle Zhu Di moved the capital from Nanjing to Beiping, renaming it Beijing. The T-shaped street area was rebuilt into the 10 Princes' Mansions as part of the capital relocation. This was because 10 princes and 3 princesses successively took up residence here. However, these princes mostly lived here as children and moved to their fiefs after reaching adulthood. They were not allowed to return to the capital without reason, so the 10 princes' mansions of the Ming Dynasty were more like large dormitories for princes and princesses. The difference between the Ming princes and the Yuan princes was that, although both had their own fiefs, the former's power was suppressed. They served more like mascots, stationed on the borders to intimidate foreign countries, and rarely returned to Beijing. Naturally, they did not have exclusive mansions. It was during the Qing dynasty that Wangfujing truly served its purpose. Since the Qing court also originated from a nomadic people and adopted Chinese culture relatively early, they had a unique approach to managing the 8-banner system and the fate of the princes. Starting from Nurhaci, who founded the later Jin dynasty after unifying the Jianzhou and Haishi Jurchens, he began thinking about how to scale up the administration of his people. No longer would it be about brothers fighting together, indistinguishable in rank. Nurhaci first attempted to balance the ancient groups by creating a system of heir-sons to support the prince's faction in order to suppress the 5 main brothers who had fought together for the throne. However, the 2 princes he initially appointed were later deposed. Against this backdrop, he created the 8-banner system, with 8 princes, or bail, leading each banner. These leaders held powers such as electing new khans, supervising each other, sitting together for audiences, and dividing wealth among the 8 families. Duoduo, the chief of the White Banner, had his residence in Wangfujing after entering the capital. Of course, Wangfujing was not the home of only one prince. However, Duoduo's mansion was the largest, with the most complete facilities, which made it the representative of the area. Currently, the entire area of Peking Union Medical College Hospital is only a small part of the former residence of Prince Duoduo, the Prince of Yulin. Even the Shui Mansion and the Arrow Factory belonged to the training grounds of that time, showing just how vast the scale was. The residence of Prince Yulin was built very luxuriously, completely modeled after the inner and outer courts of the Forbidden City, and was often referred to as the Small Forbidden City. Hence, the street where it stood became known as Wangfu Street. The reason Duoduo was able to stand out among the many princes and build a mansion based on the design of the Forbidden City lies in his good fortune. He was the 15th son of Nurhaci, the founding emperor of the Qing Dynasty. His mother was the Empress Ulanara, and he had brothers, including Dorgan and Ajij. As a child, Duoduo was deeply favored by Nurhaci due to his mother's prominence. Before reaching the age of 10, without any significant military achievements, he was made a banner leader, second in rank only to the 4 great Bail princes. When they were in Shenyang, Duoduo's mansion was quite different from his brothers' residences. The 2 older brothers lived on the eastern side of Tongtian Street in Shenyang, while Duoduo lived alone on the western side, closest to Nurhaci. Given Nurhaci's favor, Duoduo was able to build his small forbidden city on Wangfu Street after entering Beijing. No one dared oppose this, especially with Dorgan, who held power in the court, considering Duoduo his most trusted confidant, more so than Ajij. With the support of his older brother, the Prince of Yulin, Duoduo faced no competition from other princes. However, after Dorgan's era came to an end, although Duoduo's descendants still held the title of hereditary Iron Hat princes, they were pushed out of the power center. Living on the allowances of the princely title could no longer support the lavish lifestyle of the small forbidden city. Over time, they began selling off their properties and downsizing the mansion. At this point, Wangfu Street, once the exclusive domain of Duoduo, saw other princes move in, and the area began to flourish with more mansions. The once stable Wangfu Street saw many princes come and go over the centuries. After more than 100 years, it's impossible to count how many influential princes had lived here or how many left after dynastic changes. However, the fact remains that only princes resided here. Thus, the name Wangfu Street never changed until the 11th year of the Guangxu reign. According to the 11th year record of the Guangxu era titled Draft History of the Streets and Alleys of Beijing, there were 1,258 wells in the inner and outer cities of Beijing. Most of the water was salty and bitter, with only a few sweet wells suitable for drinking. The well on Wangfujing Street is one of the few with sweet-tasting water. The pronunciation of well in Chinese is Jing, and thus Wangfujing gets its name. Both the complete map of Beijing in the Qianlong era and the second-year edition of the actual survey map of Beijing's inner and outer cities in 1913 show that there was only one well in this area, clearly marked as being located here. This well was covered up in the 1920s and rediscovered during the renovations of Wangfujing Street in 1998. It was protected on September 9, 1999, and can be considered the root of this street. In conclusion, the name Wangfujing is indeed closely related to the princes of various dynasties. During the Ming Dynasty, it was the residence of young princes, and during the Qing Dynasty, it became the preferred location for the construction of royal mansions. However, it was never the exclusive property of any one prince. Instead, it was a place where, during certain periods, the most influential prince with the largest residence would take the lead, like the famous mansion of Prince Duoduo, which was built to rival the Forbidden City. But as his power waned, the mansion eventually fell into decline and was replaced by those of other princes. Over the long course of hundreds of years, dozens of princes lived here, each contributing their own stories. In the end, after all the dust settled, Wangfujing Street remained, serving as a reminder of the grand and prosperous past. The combination of Prince's Mansion and the sweet water well during the Guangxu era gives the area a nostalgic charm, reminiscent of the line, "The swallows that once flew in the halls of the old emperor family now fly into the homes of ordinary people." Here, a once unreachable noble residence is linked with the down-to-earth water well, creating a place that sparks curiosity at the mention of its name. This is History and Culture channel. Like and subscribe are the biggest help and support for us. Thank you everyone, see you next time.